There are battles you win with strength. There are battles you win with strategy. And then, there are battles that should never be possible. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great stood before a city he could not even reach. Siege of Tyre, a fortress rising from the sea. Walls towering directly from the water. No land path. No weakness. No way in. This was not just a defended city. It was protected by geography itself. And for the first time in his campaign, Alexander faced something that could not be defeated by force alone. Because how do you conquer a city when your army cannot even touch it? Most commanders would turn away. Most armies would accept defeat. But Alexander did something no one expected. He decided to change the battlefield itself. Tyre was not simply difficult to attack. It was designed to be unreachable. Located on an island just off the coast, the city stood separated from the mainland by a stretch of sea that turned traditional warfare into something useless. Its massive walls rose directly from the water, high, reinforced, and nearly impossible to scale without access. From land, Alexander could only watch. From sea, he faced another problem. Tyre controlled the surrounding waters. Its fleet was active, mobile, and capable of striking at any approaching force. This created a complete strategic barrier. Alexander's army was one of the most powerful land forces in the world. But here, that advantage meant nothing. He could not deploy infantry. He could not position siege towers. He could not even bring his weapons close enough to matter. From a war strategy perspective, this was a deadlock. An attacker without access. A defender with total control. And Tyre knew it. They had survived threats before using this exact advantage. They trusted their walls. They trusted the sea. They believed they could not be conquered. And for the first time in his campaign, they were not wrong. Alexander's first move was bold, but limited. If he could not reach the city, he would extend the land toward it. He ordered the construction of a massive causeway, an artificial bridge of stone, wood, and debris, stretching from the mainland into the sea. At first, the plan seemed possible. Workers began dumping materials into the water. Slowly, the structure grew, meter by meter, closer to the city. But Tyre did not wait. They attacked. From the walls, archers rained arrows down on the exposed workers. From the sea, ships moved in, fast, aggressive, unpredictable. They struck the construction zones, destroying materials, disrupting progress. And then came fire. One of the most devastating counterattacks. Tyrian forces launched fire ships directly into the growing causeway. Flames spread rapidly. Siege equipment burned. Structures collapsed. Weeks of progress, destroyed in moments. This changed everything, because it revealed the reality of the situation. Every step forward would be contested. Every advance would be punished. Alexander was not building a path. He was fighting for every meter of it, and the closer he moved toward Tyre, the more dangerous the battlefield became. Most commanders would have stopped. The cost was too high, the progress too slow, the resistance too strong. But Alexander adapted. He didn't abandon the plan. He expanded it. The causeway became larger, wider, stronger. What began as a simple path turned into a massive engineering project. Stone after stone, layer after layer, it pushed forward into the sea. But this time, it was defended. Alexander positioned towering siege structures along the causeway, equipped with archers and artillery. These towers provided cover. They fought back. They turned the construction into a moving fortress. Still, the attacks continued. Still, the losses mounted. But now, something had changed. Alexander was no longer reacting. He was controlling the pace. And then came the true turning point. He brought in a fleet. Ships from allied regions arrived, shifting the balance of power. Now, the sea was no longer controlled by Tyre alone. Alexander attacked from both directions. From land, the causeway advanced. From sea, naval forces pressured the city. The defenders were no longer in control. They were being surrounded. This was no longer an impossible problem. It was becoming a solvable one. Because Alexander had done something extraordinary. He didn't just fight the enemy. He reshaped the battlefield. With the causeway nearing completion and naval forces in position, the siege entered its final stage. Tyre was no longer isolated. It was trapped. Pressure came from every direction. From the sea, Alexander's fleet attacked the walls directly. From the causeway, siege towers advanced, massive structures pushing closer with every moment. Projectiles filled the air, Arrows, stones, fire. The defenders fought fiercely. They had held for months. They had destroyed construction. They had resisted everything. But now, they were being overwhelmed because their greatest advantage had been taken from them. The sea no longer protected them. The distance no longer saved them. The walls were no longer unreachable. And then, got a breach. It didn't come easily. It didn't come quickly. But once it happened, everything changed. Alexander's forces surged forward. The battle moved from outside the walls to inside the city, and inside a city under siege. There is no order, only chaos, only survival, only the final collapse of resistance. The fall of Tyre was not just a victory. It was a message. The city that had believed itself untouchable had been reached, had been broken. From a strategic perspective, what followed was deliberate. The destruction was not random. It was calculated. Because Alexander understood something critical. Victory on the battlefield is powerful, but fear spreads faster. By making Tyre an example, he sent a signal across the region. Resistance would not be negotiated. It would be crushed. This was psychological warfare at its highest level. Future cities would not just remember the battle. They would remember the consequences. But it also revealed something deeper. Alexander was not simply adapting to war. He was redefining it. Using strategy, engineering, and force, not separately, but together. The Siege of Tyre was not just about conquest. It was about proving that no position was safe, no defense was absolute, and no challenge was beyond reach. The Siege of Tyre was never supposed to be winnable, a city surrounded by water, protected by walls, untouchable, and yet, it fell. Not because it was weak, but because its enemy refused to accept limits. Alexander didn't just fight the battle, he changed the conditions of war itself. And in doing so, he proved something that would define his legacy. There are no impossible victories, only those who are willing to go further than anyone else. Subscribe for more cinematic war intelligence, where strategy, power, and history come alive.